hold on. We might be on the verge of a great idea here.
Hard Rock.
Several inches behind me, phrasing.
Hard Rock.
I was like, cool. I look like a very, old, greasy Italian.
Hard Rock.
Why? You wanted to. What? You wanted to.
Hard Rock.
Who knows? I knows.
Hard Rock.
What?
Hard Rock.
Slow adult level of comprehension.
Hard Rock.
I am basically the Howard Hughes of Facebook.
Hard Rock.
Or I should just hire a social media manager. And by hire a social media manager, I mean, have somebody do it for free.
Hard Rock.
I don't know. What the hell do I know?
Hard Rock.
I also found some god-awful bands that way, and I used to force Jimmy and Mikey to listen to them, because if I have to listen to them, they have to listen to them.
Hard Rock.
Because sometimes I really want to do a good job here, but then sometimes I just don't do that good job.
Hard Rock.
I've been alive so goddamn long, I can't even remember which war this is.
Hard Rock.
DJ said if you just drink this chocolate milk, you don't even you don't have to worry about the flu.
Hard Rock.
I'm going to have to bleep this whole goddamn thing.
Hard Rock.
As if babies are horribly gross. I mean, except with mozzarella.
Hard Rock.
That's all I got today, so goodbye, everybody.
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Welcome to the Hard Rock Lunchbox and the Top 20. Today is an unrealistically beautiful November 16th, 2023, and I would like to take a second to point out what an absolutely fantastic host I am. I hop in here today, and my audience, my dedicated audience, wants to hear the rest of the Ozzy song that's here on my channel, 99WNRR, and I complied with that shit. That's what's up. Do other people do that?
It's always a no!
You're goddamn right they don't do that. That's a Hard Rock Lunchbox perk, as far as I'm concerned. As Donkey would say, maybe it's a perk. It's a perk. That's all I got today, so goodbye, everybody. I actually had to figure out... Well, I should figure out what's going on with my hair first, but... I was going to not wear a hat today. It's funny, whenever I don't wear a hat, I just look like my hair is just, super greasy, and it just isn't. It's just the lighting here. And I've been trying to cut my... Okay, hold on. Let's back that up. I would like to have cut my hair now for about a year, and I just didn't. I have this weird thing. I know I talk about it a lot. I do have a substantial case of social anxiety disorder. It flares up, and not daily. It flares up in months. It takes a little while for that stuff to go away. And it is incredibly demotivating sometimes. So I don't go get my hair cut because I don't want to go out and go do that. That's really the only reason. My daughter was actually waiting on me to take her, and I was like, yeah, you're going to Rapunzel that shit before I take you. So she had to get her hair blown out for the Witch's Walk a couple of weeks ago. She blows it out straight. She looks like Fluttershy from My Little Pony, if anybody's familiar. So it's actually funny. And I actually got to watch it frizz up at a soccer game, just incrementally frizz. It was very, very amusing to me personally. But I want to... So my hair looks just kind of... Here, I can even show you. This is very unprofessional, but I'll take my headphones off. So, my hair is fine. It's all clean and stuff, but because of the way the light hits it up there, and I'm sure it's the light. The light hits it, it tends to look a little bit greasy, there and stuff like that, but it's not. It's just, there's a sheen on it, and, not like Luke Dunphy does on Modern Family. I do not bathe in a shower cap of mayonnaise to get the sheen that I need. I just have a natural sheen. It's not a Charlie Sheen. That'd be cool if I had a Charlie Sheen, but it's not. So I need to get my hair cut. I like it. Whenever I do cut it like that, I always cut it to the point where I say I don't want to have to wear it back. Oh, because that's the problem, right? I have to wear it back. Where are you? Over there. So I have to wear it back because there's several inches behind me. Phrasing. No phrasing. Yes, phrasing. Several inches behind me. So I have to wear it back because it's just annoying. And then when I wear it down, anybody that's ever seen me live knows what it looks like, right? So it's fine. But there's a certain appeal to the day-to-day, like just having it short enough that I don't have to wear a hat everywhere. I don't have to tie it back all the time. I've had long hair most of my life, most of my adult life. When I was 17, I started growing it out. 16? High school. I started growing it out, and then by the time I was in college, my hair was down to my ass, and that's kind of where it was for a while. And then every now and then, I would just really, really cut it. And I did not like it. I don't like having it short for a whole bunch of reasons. I don't like how it looks. It makes my face look rounder for some reason. I don't know. And like, I don't need any help looking rounder. I'm doing just fine on my own. Thank you very much. But anyway, I put the headphones on, I took one look, and I was like, cool. I look like a very, like, old, greasy Italian, and no offense to old, greasy Italians, but it's just not my look, nor am I that, so I figured I would just not do that. I didn't come here to talk about that. I came to talk about how cool it was that I let Ozzy finish playing before I started my show. And I didn't even come to talk about that, but I did eventually talk about that because I wanted to. Why? You wanted to. What? You wanted to. Oh shit, System of a Down in the studio. It's so crazy. Who knew they were coming today? Just checking out. I have a lot of new music for you guys today, and it is just so all over the place. I have a new one from Set It Off that I actually really like, but it's like I tried to grab it like 4 or 5 different times, and it just kept not working, so I've heard it enough. Enough to the point where I don't even feel like playing it, but I actually like the song, so I think I'll play it for you guys. And maybe I'll just, like, go get another cup of coffee or something while that's going on or something. But I do have some new music for you. Got some stuff from First and Forever, is a band I never heard of. Neck Deep, I got new stuff. I have a song in from Jimmy. The band's called The Last Dinner Party. When you want to talk about a song that is just completely all over the place, like this one actually like hurt my head a couple of times to make sure I was listening to the right song. So we'll get to that at some point. I may or may not drop the new Revel 9 song that's coming out tomorrow. Maybe not. Maybe you'll have to stick around. Who knows? Who knows? I knows. Man, I am so tired. I'm at that point now where I'm not sleeping well again. I think it's the clock change, the time change. It does it to me they do it to me every year. It happens every year. But also I think my mix of chemicals that I use to sleep, I kind of have to change up every now and then, and I think I'm at that point. Because I'm waking up, I mean, I could tell the time change because I wake up at 7 in the morning, which honestly, you shouldn't have to do. Although Annie, the Annie of the Annie and the Jackknifes is actually on tour now, and I believe she was telling me before she left her wake-up call is going to be like something like 5:30 in the morning, and I looked at her, I was like, but you're not a morning person. She's effectively like, I know that. So I don't know how she's going to make out. Like, I couldn't do that. I hate waking up at 7, even when I would have to wake up the earliest I would ever have to wake up, which was generally soccer tournaments. Where we'd have like an 8:20 game, like just something ridiculous. I mean, that's the earliest I've ever had to be doing anything since I was in college, right? So, but we'd have like an 8:20 game, so I'd have to be on the field for like registration at 7:30 in the morning. So I basically would spend the entire night, sleeping and what time? The entire night. So you get like. What you basically end up with is 15-minute blocks of sleep over the course of 8 hours or whatever. It just ruins everything. So I don't get up early. So when I tell you I'm getting up at 7 o'clock, like just waking up, my alarm that's my body's like, cool, it's 8 o'clock now, and like 7 o'clock. So that's why I think it's the time change. They're just not sleeping terribly well. So I am super groggy, which means most of my frontal cortex is not paying attention to what's happening on the show. And that's probably important for anybody out there to know. In case you decide to take anything I say seriously, just know that we're coming from a practically, like, slow adult level of comprehension. How about that? How is this not going to make it to the bumper? Still my favorite part of the top 20 is the bumpers. Speaking of which, might as well do some stupid housekeeping because that's what they pay me for. They don't pay me? Oh, I guess I just do it for fun then. That's cool. Yay me. All right. Brand new top 20 out. You can watch my favorite part of the show, which is the bumpers, the first minute. I should just do the top minute. Or, you know what I should do? This is what I should do. So, I actually... Hold on. We might be on the verge of a great idea here.
It's always a no.
Or not. So I do this because I amuse myself, right? Like, my favorite part of the top 20, which, by the way, you can see a new episode of on Strangerhood TV right now if you want. It came out this morning, I think. I hope. I actually haven't looked. I assume it's there. I didn't get to walk this morning because, again, I'm just moving, like, super slow. But I assume it's out there. So, my favorite part... Wait. Hold on. So the beginning of the Hard Rock Lunchbox, the 20 minutes where I just talk and intro whatever's going on in the world, my world, your world, our world. So that's the top 20. But every week I put together the bumpers, which are just like the funniest clips. And they don't have to be funny. What they have to be is they have to be funny out of context. And that is harder than it sounds. Like, if you have any context, it just ruins it for me. So I just like these little bits of stuff. But for my own benefit, whenever I download or export or whatever it is I do, I don't even know what I do, honestly. Whatever I do, whatever button I hit that creates the final version of the top 20, the 20-something minute thing that I upload to Strangerhood TV, I also will take the clip, the first, basically, the top 60, right? The top 60 seconds of the top 20 of the Hard Rock Lunchbox is effectively what it is. And it's my favorite part. So that's the part that I watch and I save. And I always plan on, like, sometimes you'll see me, I'll throw it up on Instagram, but, like, I haven't been on Instagram in, like, 2 weeks because I'm doing a really good job promoting things like, you know, my band, my show, my life, my existence, that kind of stuff. Because I am just so good at social promoting at this point. Like, I am basically the Howard Hughes of Facebook. And it's just... I'm so bad. I'm just so bad at it. And I know it's a function of just being busy. It's a function of being busy and not being on my phone. Like, I'm not on my phone, like, most of my life. Like, I will acknowledge it when I'm out. I'm on my phone the most whenever I'm at a show, which is funny because it's actually, like, the rudest thing you can do. But I'm always taking pictures of the bands that are on. That I post to Instagram as, like, a reminder to other people, like, hey, you should come down and check out this band. But I don't. But so anyway, so, like, I always get that top 60 of the top 20 of the Hard Rock Lunchbox to post, like, on Instagram because I think it's the funniest part. So I should probably go back to doing that. Or I should just hire a social media manager. And by hire a social media manager, I mean, like, have somebody do it for free because I have no money. But anyway, so the top 20 that's out today is the Bigger A-Holes and Tiny Cars. And I talk about the Red Light, Green Light Champion, the Wild West of the Southern State Parkway, all good stuff. I didn't get a chance to listen to any of the BIMP nonsense this week, but Mark from, I think it's Hangover or Hungover Band, was on Monday, and Discussions and Drinks, they were talking about the actors' strike actually helping quality, and I'm interested to see what the take on that is, because the quality wasn't there during the actors' strike. But I will say that everything that I watch that involves writers and actors has gotten better after, but because I think they had a few weeks off. By a few, I mean many weeks off to kind of regroup and rewrite. Like, that's why bands typically don't write a brand new record the moment they finish a brand new record, right? They need a little breath to kind of, like, let that kind of hang out and stuff like that. But I don't know. What the hell do I know? I have notes all over my desk here, and they have absolutely nothing to do with the show. I was working on... We're about to go back into pre-production. Speaking of writing a record right after you write a record. So this is End Us All, which is an older kind of song. And I am desperate to fix the last chorus of this song. It's really all I need to fix the last chorus of this song. And I kind of don't want to be in a situation like, well, it's Caggiano's problem now. Like, but I'm getting very close to it. There gets to be a point where you're, like, this close to a song and you just can't see the way out of it. You can't see the right answer. I just rewrote some of the dynamics in a song called As You Run that is now it's bubbling up to be, like, close to the top of the ones that we want to pick. But it's so funny because, like, when you talk to the band, like, the ridiculous conversations that go on, especially, like, when it's like, well, this one's my favorite, and then, well, this one's my other favorite, and like, we should do that one too. Like, yeah, man, if you keep going that way, it's going to end up being like all of the songs. Like, we're working on a song now called Choke, which is my least favorite of all the new songs. It's one of the oldest. It's actually second only to Scars in terms of age. And we're actually considering forcing to record Scars just to get it done because it's so old. And there's nothing wrong with the song. I think it could stand for a little production, not from me, because I have produced the fuck out of it as far as I'm concerned. And like all I have is just harmonies and stuff I want to do to it. But I think the song is like perfect the way it is. I just think it's not the greatest song, if that makes sense. Like, it's a really good song, in my opinion, but it's like, this is going to sound really dick, so just let me just say it and then just try and remember that I'm just trying to explain something. Like, it's a really, really good song in a sea of mediocre songs that are currently out right now, right? Like, so it fits the suit that a lot of rock bands that don't scream, because I can't scream. It's just not my thing. So if you're not a screamer band, you're just a rock band. Scars is like a great song in that scene. But like, some of the other songs we're trying to write are trying to be a little bit better. Even if they're just a little bit different, right? You can be better than everything in your particular group, or you can kind of just be off to the side and offer up something different. I think that's one of the things we were kind of able to do in Side Out, because since I don't scream and I don't have that current conventional hard rock sort of sound, it's hard to do like a Chevelle level kind of song that's a lot heavier and doesn't really let up. Even Chevelle doesn't do that anymore. So, or because they can't. They haven't written a song of that caliber, and all conceit aside, in quite a while. But that allows us to sort of do those things. But I think Scars just sort of falls right into the pocket of like, I think if we put it on Octane tomorrow, nobody would be surprised that it was on there, because I think it fits with all the that's what I'm trying to say. All the mediocre shit that you're hearing on Octane right now, Scars would fit perfectly with. But honestly, for me, I think Octane is absolute garbage. It's just horrible, and it's just a product of everybody that like Jose like wants to starfuck, and like I mean that in the nicest possible way. It just is. It used to have some like newer sounding music on there, but now every other song is like Five Flavor Fruit Punch, and like, I hate that band, and I think they're not very good, and yet they're just flooding that one particular market. It's one of the reasons I like actually listening to my own stupid show, because the music I have to listen to in order to do this show is the new music that I find, because I'm out there doing the work and not just hanging out at like Suck My Dick Fest or whatever it is that everybody at Sirius goes to because they don't feel like doing the work anymore. Real program directors from really like real stations back in the day used to actually go find new music and go find acts, not have them fed to them by PR companies. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, PR companies definitely serve a purpose, and that's why I've been toying with hiring a new one for the new stuff, because they do exactly that. They take all these outlets that are looking for music, and they gatekeep, and they just send, bands to them. But there's no quality control. You take who you take. But you know what I mean? Like, when I used to do this stuff, even through Reverb Nation, where people would submit music to this show, like, you can ask Mikey and Jimmy, because I would sit there and I would listen to all, like, 2,000 submissions, and I would pick the ones that I really wanted. And I found some really, really good bands that way. I also found some god-awful bands that way, and I used to force Jimmy and Mikey to listen to them, because if I have to listen to them, they have to listen to them. But like what I do here when I curate this show, like that's what I think is good about the Hard Rock Lunchbox complete playlist on Spotify. And if you guys want that, like, just let me know. Like, it's public. Like, if you search Hard Rock Lunchbox complete, like, you'll see like every song that I grab for this show. This is for the past, say, 3 to 4 years. And obviously the show's gone on longer than that, but like for every song I grab for this show, I try and add it to that playlist. So effectively, it's a curated playlist of everything that I thought was good enough or interesting enough to bring to you. The only exception to that is some of Mel's musical moments stuff, and I think we all know why that is. She'd probably be the first to admit it, too. It's totally fine. By the way, she sent in a doozy this week that actually it made me laugh with how bad it was. So I can't wait to get to that probably around 1 o'clock. Anyway. So and us all, trying to fix the last chorus. Send any of your last chorus ideas over to Hard Rock Lunchbox at gmail.com, and I'll be sure and run them by the brain trust that is the rest of Rebel 9. But yeah, so we're trying to pick new stuff. So, I was going to pull some clips, and I say gonna because it's not a real world word, but I can imply going to pull some clips because I really wanted to do this, because sometimes I really want to do a good job here, but then sometimes I just don't do that good job. And, you know, it's not for lack of wanting, and there is some lack of motivation, but like I really was just busy. So, I don't know who in my listening audience knows who Tucker Carlson is. I would imagine most people do. I think most people in the country that are currently alive would know who Tucker Carlson is. He is a right-wing talking head, or was for years. He rose to prominence on Fox after Bill O'Reilly got in trouble for sexual harassment or whatever. Honestly, I don't even remember what they do. And I don't even remember what Tucker Carlson got fired for this time. But he's been fired several times for whatever reason. But so now he's kind of on his own. He's doing his own show on X, which is formerly Twitter. He is a huge proponent of X and Elon Musk, because he truly believes that Elon Musk allows, like, total free speech in the face of obvious, like, conflicts of that interest. Like, Elon Musk has already removed people from X that he doesn't agree with. So you can argue whether or not it's free speech. It's not really my point. I mean, my argument with Tucker Carlson on the free speech thing is like, yeah, free speech isn't absolute. Like, the Supreme Court said so, and common sense dictates. You know, free speech is just not absolute. And I think the reason things got so murky over the past several years is because we've never had a level of misinformation like this before. I mean, the level, like, the Nazis and the Soviets had, like, ministers of propaganda. Like, that was their job. And you could argue that, like, the press secretary of the United States is kind of that, but, like, it's not really their job to sort of create news and information. For example, one of my favorite things in history, and we used to laugh about this so goddamn hard, during the first Gulf War, first, second, God, I don't even remember which one it is. I've been alive so goddamn long, I can't even remember which war this is. No, it had to be the second Gulf War, right? Because we went into Baghdad. So they had the Iraqi Saddam Hussein's press secretary, basically Baghdad Bob. He was just this guy. He looked Iraqi. He wore glasses, and he would come on TV, and you could watch this. You could watch it direct on, like, Al Jazeera or whatever, right? But, like, BBC would cover it. By the way, there's a whole lot to be said for foreign markets for information. But BBC would cover it. And every day, he'd be out there, and he'd give press conferences from Baghdad, and he'd come out, and he'd be like, we are beating back the American dogs, you know, blah, blah, blah. And just, like, lie after lie, like, they're cowering at our gates. You know, they're surrendering and mad. Like, just lie after lie after lie, to the point where we would just joke that he would come on and he used to, like, wear glasses, and he would just, like, stare right in the camera like, I am not wearing glasses. Like, it was that really ridiculous. Like, there was one point where behind him, like, he was saying, like, no, we are winning this war, the Americans are leaving, the Americans are cowards, and, like, you could almost see American tanks, like, kind of just driving behind him while he's saying all this, because that's what propaganda is, right? That's what a totally unregulated free speech of whatever looks like. You can say whatever you want. And normally, in most common, polite society or whatever, decent society, people can kind of believe, like, they can use their common sense to sift through the information that's out there. The problem is, well, the problems are, we have more information than we've ever had in our entire life. Right? And people have access to so much, and people have access to so many people that it's possible to just sort of say whatever if you have a big enough following. I mean, that's why Kanye gets listened to. You know what I mean? Like, you can argue that people like Joe Rogan have like a huge audience, but at least Joe Rogan has built it, like from his podcast. Like, as famous as he was for being a comedian and an actor, his podcast has really done the work for him. And he actually offers what I would argue is closer to free speech than anything Elon Musk has ever put out, because he will listen and he does let people talk, but he will sort of fact check as he goes, especially if it's stuff that he knows about. Like, he'll double down and ask questions. Like, he pulled that shit with was it not Glenn Beck, Alex Jones, because Alex Jones was on there basically just saying like how he's kind of innocent, and or he never did some of the stuff that he was accused of with Sandy Hook, and Joe Rogan was like, yeah, you did. Like, it's right here. Like, so that's closer to free speech, because it's, you can say whatever you want, but if you have a big enough following and you're unchallenged, like, people say stuff and people believe it. I mean, especially if people have come to believe you. Now, I'd like to believe that, like, my listening audience is smarter than the average listening audience, but I can't guarantee that. I'm sure there are some dolts out there, and if I told them, like, yo, man, I just found out that oranges cure AIDS, I have enough credit, I think that they might actually believe that, right? Or, you know, if you just, let's think of something really stupid. If you, I don't know, buy music from Revel 9, like it'll prevent you from getting COVID. All right, that sounds ridiculous. Chocolate milk. Drink chocolate milk, right? Tastes good. People generally like it. Glass of chocolate milk a day will keep you from getting the flu this flu season. I would be willing to bet that there's one or two people in my listening audience who'd be like, yo, DJ said if you just drink this chocolate milk, like, you don't even you don't have to worry about the flu. And that's where it becomes dangerous, and that's what was the problem, especially when we started dealing with stuff in the Trump years and COVID, of course, because everybody that was anybody started just putting out, like, idea. And, like, you could say that that's true on the government side, too. Like, just because Dr. Fauci said, like, this was something that was good to do doesn't necessarily make it so. I mean, the way he said it has been kind of misinterpreted over the years. Like, he's a scientist, and he works in science, and he works, you know, in a scientific capacity for the government. So when he talks about stuff like vaccines being safe, he's correct. Statistically, vaccines are safe. And also, vaccines are being deployed for all these other things. And historically, vaccines have saved millions of lives. Does that mean it's a good idea to jump right into an mRNA kind of vaccine? Nope, not for me, it wasn't. And it's just not something I'm super comfortable with. But yeah, I do realize that, like, that's kind of how you have to roll stuff out. But people are accusing him of, like, knowingly falsifying information, which is ridiculous. But, like, at the time when people were saying those things, people were definitely getting shut down on YouTube. I know I got in trouble twice on YouTube. One time I still got to argue about because I was making fun of people that were making fun of vaccines. But you can at least make fun of them and address them and stuff like that. That's fine in freedom of speech. The problem comes in when people are taking, like, hey man, you should just drink which actually does indeed help a little bit with symptoms, and I should probably scratch that. I'm probably going to have to bleep this whole goddamn thing so I don't get another strike against me. But you'll actually see that in some of the cocktails and some of the hospital regimens. But people were saying it was effectively by itself something that would prevent COVID, which is not true. You know, even when Trump said something about, like, injecting bleach, yeah, injecting bleach will definitely keep you from getting COVID because it'll keep you from being alive to get it. Right? So, like, those are, like, that's where misinformation comes up. And you see it in the election deniers constantly. Like, these people that just, like, lie and lie and lie about these election, the election results. Like, there's been no election fraud on the Biden side. The Democrats didn't do anything wrong. The only people so far to get in trouble for election fraud have been the Republicans because they cheat, lie, and steal their way to winning elections. Only the moderate Republicans really, like, you don't ever have to worry about them. Like, they're just running on an ideological ticket, and they do just fine. But any MAGA Republican, man, I would definitely take a hard look at some of those ballot boxes because they cheat constantly. And Trump's own lawyers just had to plead guilty because they broke into a Georgia election office to kind of tamper with the machines. Like, that's what election fraud is, but people keep saying it over and over. You get all these, you know, F. Joe Biden people. It's like, dude, First of all, knock it off. If you don't like the president, fine, don't like the president. Let's show some level of respect. He hasn't done anything wrong or illegal, so the office still deserves respect. The stuff that Trump was doing, he's going to go to jail for. I mean, and if he doesn't go to jail for it, it's just because he's a rich white man, and, like, that's also the world we live in. But he has actually committed some crime. Should he have been impeached twice? No. He should have been impeached once. He should have been impeached the last time for the insurrection. And honestly, I hope he serves some jail time for it. Because if you don't think it's insurrection, after listening to some of the stuff his own lawyers have said, then you're just too stupid to understand it. And that's okay, because that's the other problem in this day and age. Not only do you have all this misinformation and, access to all the other people, but the third and most important component is here in America, we have just destroyed the educational system with No Child Left Behind when we had our one of our dumbest presidents ever. And I long for the days of George W. Bush at this point. But, he was very much not a smart man. And he put together the whole No Child Left Behind, which, by the way, if you're ever pissed why we have to pay to educate immigrants in our country, there's your guy. No Child Left Behind did that. They insisted on educating everybody that's in the district, whether they pay taxes, whether they're citizens or not. It doesn't matter. They want everybody educated. And the way they were able to do that is they dumbed down all the stuff that they were educating people with. So now we have an entire generation, 2 generations probably at this point, that are just flat out dumber because they're not able to learn as much. So you have people that are getting stupider and stupider and stupider. And then you have these places in the South that are refusing to teach certain things because it offends their sensibilities. You have all that stuff that was going on in Mississippi and Alabama, and I was talking to you about that, where they're basically denying that they seceded from the Union because of slavery, even though it's in the first fucking line of the secession papers. And you have all these white people that are like, we don't want to teach that to our kids in school. And that whole going joke that it's probably not about the fact that they don't actually want to teach it in school, but what they really don't want to do is have the pictures of white people throwing rocks at black people because those white people are them, their parents, and their grandparents because they're horrible people. People that want to just rewrite history have something to be ashamed of. Don't think that that's not true. And those are the people that are causing the biggest problems. And that we're taking a stupider and stupider and stupider system, and then we're removing facts and evidence out of it, and we're making everybody even stupider and stupider. So what do you think happens when your average 70 IQ resident of Mississippi hears something about COVID cures, election fraud, conspiracy theories, eats babies, as if babies are horribly gross. I mean, except with mozzarella, but that's different. That's more of a delicacy. And you gotta slice them thin, and then they taste a lot better. But I've been a Democrat and an independent for my entire adult life. I have never had 1 ounce of baby's blood unless it came from a non-regulated meat packing farm. But again, that's a Republican issue. But I had so much more to say about Tucker Carlson, and I have just talked way too goddamn long. I don't even know, how far into this thing am I? Am I really at 32 minutes? Holy shit, I cannot believe how long I've been talking. I'm sorry. Let's get to some music. Yeah, this actually works perfectly. Talking too long, we should probably make that stop. So, here's a little Rise Against.